okay, quickly now, the last bit. Right, this is actually the translation that you had in your mock exam. Okay, but it's a similar one. So it's 10-mark translation here. Okay, translation into English. Your brother's Belgian friend has shared the following post on Facebook. Your brother asks you to translate it into English for him. Now, the things to watch out for this is conveying your meaning and not missing bits. Right, invariably there might be bits as we go through this that you don't know the word, and you guys did really well in your mock to translate round it. But what you need to do is be careful you don't miss small details. Okay, so if we start with j'aime jouer, I like playing. If you'd written I like to play, then that will be fine as well, but it doesn't need to have to be, because it conveys the message in English and you've still hit the verb of play. So I like playing basketball, which is your au basket. Et je m'entraîne 2 fois par semaine. And I train You don't need to write 2 times per week. You can write twice a week, because that's how we would say it in English. Okay? They're not that picky. However, they would be here that you get your l'année dernière right. So l'année dernière, because it puts an année prochaine in as well, so you have to know which way around they are. L'année dernière being last year. Right. You would lose marks if you wrote last year I went on holiday to Canada. You need to get this quand in. You can't miss out details like that, because from what the examiner said, missing that detail will lose you the mark for that bit. So you need to be careful that you're translating every word. When I went on holiday to Canada. Obviously, if you don't know it, then you can't translate it, and you just try your best with, making it make that bit of sense. But what I'm cautioning against is being careless, rushing, and missing little words like this. Okay? J'ai fait de l'escalade. It should really be I did climbing, but we don't say that in English. We would say I went climbing. Okay? This bit here is another big one for missing bits out. The c'était, it was.
If it was I went climbing, would it be j'ai fait?
No. It's always j'ai fait de l'escalade is the French construction, but it literally means I did climbing. They'll allow you to say I went climbing because it's how we communicate in English. It doesn't need to be that literal that it's I did, if we would more commonly say I went. You need to include that un peu, a little or a bit. So it was a bit scary. Okay? So you need that un peu effrayant. If you just said it was scary, you're not going to get the mark for that little section, because you've missed this a bit out. But very exciting. Again, if you miss that very, if you just wrote but exciting, you wouldn't get the mark for that. And that's a silly way to lose marks, because you all know what très translates as. Alright, so it's about being very, very exact and very careful. L'année prochaine being next year. Je voudrais, I would like. Now, a lot of you didn't know essayer is to try. And that's okay. Don't miss out the whole sentence of l'année prochaine, je voudrais essayer le body surf. If you then wrote, I would like to body surf, okay, you'll get the mark for the next year bit as well, and the I would like bit. Okay? But essayer, to try. Body surfing. Last bit, sport. So you don't have to write the sport, you can just write sport, because that makes more sense in English. Is important. And what we know from what we're studying at the moment, pour rester en forme, Rester is to stay. And on form, in shape or fit. Either of those would get you the mark there. Okay? What you don't need to translate is something like this pour. You don't need to say, sorry, sport is important for to stay in shape, because that doesn't make sense in English. Okay? You're still thinking about writing correctly in English as well as the French.